Hello, Blender folks. Welcome back. Sorry, this is Gnomes, and here is another beginning of a week. So weekday live stream, stream. This is for world building and character rigging. So this is my original character, Aisha, one of them, and we are going to go further rigging her. Today no more too much excessive mouth rigging because we are going to address some other things. I'm not gonna finish this online also because not only I've been doing this for too long, it's nearly already working, and I also have other very important things to address, and I'm gonna show you something of relevance in a moment. Hold on, let's get some soundtrack here to start this. So today there would be stuff like so many things here, how to say no to these things, that I don't want to do these things now. So maybe we do some retakes of the lips, mouth interior from def lips, rig tongue, and also the lips themselves seems to be deforming some strangely, and some automation, so maybe they got wronged, so I need to fix that as well. So maybe start even with that. Then I'm gonna skip those things probably for the advanced mouth rig. Maybe this one I'm gonna try to join the ghost mesh, although I've separated up them in the end because less mesh to take into account because I was just retaking too much the lower face region, the muzzle, right? While the upper I better not touch. But in the end maybe this can be joined together. Probably that would work. So yes, then remaining shift keys. Okay, then mouth expressions. If I get these good deforms here, maybe I can try to make some pose assets for the mouth though. Okay, then we can jump to the eyelash automation, which might be very interesting. If you don't know how that works, then some body waves. Then we go reach towards we take some of the body generic simple stuff, just some helper bones here and there, and then cloth rigging, some retakes. So let's get this done, and let me show you what is super revolutionary. So this is, I think, is the future of rigging in Blender. Well, not the rigging exactly, but it's a game changer. It's I'm really expecting to come Blender 4.3 non-LTS though, but because that version will implement, I think, geometry nodes to grease pencil, and that can actually help. Surprisingly, it can help for rigging. So here, let me show you some cool trick here. So of course, if you are familiar with so let's use this and camera, so I have the compositor here. Let's also show the armature here. So this is kind of crazy thing. As you see, this mouth seems strange, right? Because actually there's no mouth hole here. Actually, this is a different version. This you might be familiar with. It's a line art modifier on a grease pencil material, grease pencil object, I mean. The same grease pencil object that I've used to make these lips actually. So this is the material, the shape, the grease pencil, and you see that I have wave painted it to the bones of the lips, which we don't see here, those deformed bones, right? Which are manipulated by this layer here, right? So you see that these are actually So these are lips that are not mesh, and I've sort of got this drawn on surface, right? You know, maybe you don't. So draw on surface, so you have this thing. We can draw an offset, but we by changing this value, but we can also use. So I've learned this trick. We can also, although I'm not sure it's completely safe, but it seems to be the way to go, a shrink wrap modifier onto the grease pencil itself. So you see here, that means that if I start to even repose it, it is because I got this on edit mode, right? So I can, of course, here I'm changing the the mesh itself, the grease pencil. So this is wrong. This should be centralized, right? The mirror modifier don't work very well for the let's go back here, because yeah, so these are meant to be posed like I've wave painted to the deformed bones, right? This grease pencil. On edit mode, it's just this, right? It's non-symmetric. I've had to apply because the wave painting wasn't working with the armature modifier, so there's some incompleteness in the grease pencil project for Blender. In rigging, there are many inconsistencies if you compare it with the, at least that's what it seems to me. And then we have the line art. Okay, this is for the, remember the line art, only with the camera we can see it adapting properly. So you can have this kind of, this is non-perfected, right? There are a lot of tutorials that will talk about that. So the idea here, folks, is very clear. We get the contour of the character with some sort of, there are many ways to achieve the good results, like here, right? And we achieve this with the line art on a 3D base mesh or character, right? Which can have cloth, can have everything. And then we rig the mouth, which is super complicated to rig in 3D, right? Because why do you think I'm using special setup like Universal Sonic mouth rig? Still not being successful for the character design that I want. So you see, I can actually with this achieve a lot more. Yeah, I can do the you see, but of course there's no mouth hole, so this is a little problem that the grease pencil, when it has, I can probably create some sort of boolean thing, invisible mesh that deforms maybe the curve with that follows the grease pencil. This is time consuming to build, I'm not sure how, or just a mesh object that follows the curvature of the grease pencil. Yeah, so this should be feasible, even though very annoying, because, but at least, yeah, it's just a mesh with some, that should be right, and that this boolean will create the mouth hole, right? And the cool thing here is that, hold on, so I haven't gone through all that, but you see, even though the lips is just stroke, it doesn't have volume, but we can fake volume by just augmenting this the stroke with Alt S, just as the curves, and so we can sort of fake some volume here. And in my opinion, this seems to, with the shading, this seems to be a good solution. And you see that, well, maybe I'm lacking, the wave painting I've done is really poor, so I'm not sure the wave painting for the, I'm not sure the wave painting for the grease pencil is the best thing, but it seems to be reliable. So you see the amount of expressions that we can do, it seems reliable. enough. So this is super interesting, right, folks? So this is what I'm talking about. And then the teeth, the arches, they can be just as the setup that I had before. They deform behind. So I just need a hole. And might be that the boolean will generate some sluggishness, but you see the power of this already. And you see how we can also do the same for the eyelids, big. So we don't need 3D eye stuff. This can be plain stuff, right? Not plain, this can be like, the eyes can be done like that, right? The eyes would be even sort of, I'm not sure if simpler, but in principle the eyes and eyelids, they are simpler than mouth, even eyelashes, in my experience. And then the eyelash we can make even with additional strokes. We can make some 3D strokes, grease pencil, as this is 3D. So the eyelash could be some sort of grease pencil that protrudes, right? And it can be very nice, and they follow, right, through some shrink wrapping or some wave paint. They're similar, just rigging, right, in partial 3D stuff. So you see, I could solve this thing for the mouth rig if that geometry nodes for the grease pencil object works in Blender 4.3, and I believe that's what they're talking about. It will be available, so we can make some sort of maybe extrusion of the mass behind backwards, and then we get the boolean, so it will cut off the, I don't need to make an extra object for this cut, and so that will be much simpler, right? So far, even if I don't have this system, I can still enjoy some good posings here. I think this if Blender 4.3 comes out totally buggish, that I cannot use for my project, then okay, I can wait, but then I will have to figure out, anyways I'll have to figure out a few more steps. But I have experienced already the boolean through geometry node, so I think that will be the safest way. The problem is that if we want to combine the mesh here or the grease pencil join onto the face with seamless, that's the complicated part with boolean. It creates a lot of sluggishness, and this, you name it, subdivision, surface modifier, that's all garbage stuff. Procedural stuff that won't really work properly. There are a lot of tutorials that try to teach stuff, but then you see in practice for mouth rigging it's garbage. In my experience, it never works. It's like maybe someone succeeded out there and have good results. For me, it's pure garbage. So it's very inconsistent, and if it is consistent, then it sluggerish the everything. So the grease pencil, it's much more interesting, right? Even though, despite the fact that the forms here I'm having are terrible, I don't have also too many points, right? So maybe you could just do some sort of subdividing for yeah, I don't know what's happening here. Maybe I have to get this kind of I don't know what's that, folks. Subdivision, welcome. So Cox, is there a way to smooth a wave painted even if subdivision surface is in? Yes, so welcome Cox. So basically, okay, so there is in Blender for this kind of smoothing, we can smooth procedurally, I think with geometry node, but if not, before that even exists, we can have some sort of I'm not super fan of this. I don't know a lot of use case that I would rely on to, but we have something like, I don't know really the difference, but usually smooth corrective can be employed. It can be applied to vertex. Sometimes this can solve even some skinning artifacts, deforms, right? So for example, I can drive certain values, but driving some stuff here can get sluggish. So it's sort of dangerous to drive any values here, I think. But we can have a procedural corrective smooth which activates or augments the factor according to some bone transform. So let's say, for example, let's use a case here for the. Okay, let's turn off here. Maybe I need to go on the other. Yeah, let's go on the other project here. So okay, this is. So let's say, for example, I have this. Oops, I have this pose here, and I have. Let's say I want to totally smooth some. The mesh of this elbow. So let's say here, right? For some reason, maybe I create some face loops here. I'm gonna create a vertex group here. I'm gonna call this. No, let's make a highlight here. That'd be more interesting. Hold on. So here. So folks, let me show you a trick here. We can use some smooth or corrective smooth modifier to make sometimes some adjustments to certain rig cases. So for example, if I want to bend this elbow and smooth procedurally the mesh, I think this can be done on geometry nodes, but it will only activate the smoothing. Not on edit mode, right? Some smoothing which will affect the mesh when this arm is bent. So for example, yeah, so let's first create an edit mode. I got these face loops here, right? Let's add modifier. Let's call this mod corrective smooth or smooth corrective, doesn't matter. And this will affect both sides, which might be a mistake. And the mirror modifier, but here's just an example. So maybe I have to create left and right, I don't know. So for now, just let's assume it will work for both sides. Nothing is working here. I've just set it at value 1, yes. Though actually it would be better to do this differently. So maybe you want to, for these ones, to just reduce the intensity. Maybe this value should be enough. Let's see on wave paint mode. Yes, this seems good. So then I want to, this is not even a great example because there's nothing really stuff that I want to smooth here, but just to show how that works. So let's add the generate, now it's the deformed smooth. I think the smooth corrective, usually the most, all of them works, but I don't know really the difference in detail, so I cannot explain. But this one, so often it's reliable enough. So here we don't want any binding stuff here, so we're gonna, you see that nothing seems to be happening, apparently. Okay, let's turn off the subdivision, so I don't know. Repeat, let's say only smooth. Yeah, so let's, I don't know why I'm not able to bind cord. No, we won't do binding, we just want some. Okay, so you see the factor, it's you see this is the smoothing effect, which is not the corrective, which is not super good, right? At least on this smooth type. Well, maybe this is better, yeah. So then we want to apply this only to the corrective smooth, so only to that mesh there. You see it starts to smooth. Simple, yeah, so length wave scale. I think this is okay. Let's reset here, and of course we can repeat these iterations to see what might manifest best. So here we have, for example, so without the modifier, with it. So this can save, sometimes can solve certain skinning problems, but there are some cases for face expressions, even on shape keys. There's other examples, I think. So yeah, so here with the subdivision surface modifier, there's really little to it, but I can maybe get more repetitions. And then of course we can just drive this factor, there's no influence, so it will be the factor, right? So I would have like to add a driver to this, and maybe actually instead of doing this, let's remove this driver, and let's say, for example, maybe this bone here could be the deformed bone even. Yeah, I think the deformed bone is safer, because in my rig sometimes it can offset from the, no, not this, deformed arms here. So this bone here, gonna pick its, it needs to be a driver because I'm affecting the object modifier itself, right? So I think here will be the z-axis, yeah. So rotation of the z-axis, I think copy as driver, where's copy as new driver, and then go back here and paste driver, and then this means that, okay, we had probably, so nothing is activated here, so it did driver. So here maybe, yeah, we got these, then scripted expression maybe. I'm not sure this is the best way to do this actually. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be okay. I don't like this way. Sorry folks, I prefer, let's just add driver and then use the edit driver. That's the bone, so def for lower arm left, z rotation, quaternion, and local space with transform space, which I think transform don't include parenting, rest pose or constraint. No, transforms include effects constraint, but not. Oh, so I have a problem here. Apparently this won't affect the okay, then let's see, then yeah, then we have the yeah, because its local coordinates are not changing for the bone, so well, it seems to be activating in some way, but yeah, it seems to be responding, right? Here it would be better to just do some keyframing to super annoying, right? So let's move this like this. Yeah, so it's responding, but it's local space transform space doesn't respond. Okay, so local space, although it says but not parenting response, or maybe variable. So here maybe it's a negative. No, so maybe it needs to add something here. And if now it probably is 1 everywhere. Alright, so well, wait, it is halfway. I don't know. So anyways, we can drive other things, for example repeat, but so this is not the case. And so just var, but maybe times 2 times 10. times 100. I don't know why this is not. Alright, so this is better. So times okay, so you got the idea. So this is this is how this is not how, but we can drive this kind of property here, and that we can do this for the corrective smooth, so we can have some procedural smoothing on the. Yeah, unfortunately this is a bad highlight, folks, so I'll have to dismiss it. Too junky example, not working in the end because of a simple driver. Alright folks, so let's continue here. That took a while to solve it, so hold on, I need to, it's kinda, the heat here in my room is hindering my ability to continue here. Okay, now I've got. Alright, reset pose. We don't need these bones here to be showing. So what can we do? Wave paint the lips, right? So because the deforms I was having are not satisfying. So for example, I don't know what happened. I just started to have, I was having good deforms on the mouth and the lips, and then suddenly start to have some junky shapes and some inconsistencies. Right, you see it's hard to pose to get good mouth, especially on the top lip. So I believe this is wave painting. Yeah, you see there it's very junky, and could be that we have some. Yeah, maybe leave the subdivision on so we can compare. So there's no, it's not data transfer, so maybe I needed, yeah, the shape key. Yeah, I suspect that perhaps there are some shape keys which are activating wrongly. No, nothing is activating wrongly, so there's just this one. So alright, so we need just to readdress these waves there, and so for that let's bring some objects here. We're gonna hide this, gonna hide the eyes, all that. Okay, let's do this, and now we're gonna see a simplified version here. Flat is okay. So why the tongue is because now the tongue is part of the of the body. So all right, so probably should mask too. So let's go to the vertex groups, go here in the home. We can't move to the top, this is annoying. So let's get some mouth work here. Shift H, we can hide all that, and for the lips, yeah, all this should be good enough, although probably we're not gonna need all this, or should we? Maybe the, oh yes, the mouth interior might be useful. So let's also add this mesh here to select, assign. Alright, let's do this again. Select, what is Denzel Mob? Welcome Denzel. So what is that UI custom? Oh yeah, I'm not the best one to explain this. I've just started to use. So UI custom, you mean custom normals? UI custom, this is for some data transfer. This is something about related to improve the alignment, I think, of the normals of a mesh which is behind. It's this ghost mesh here. It's a dummy model. It's a wire, right? So this is behind the face, and so this is the target of a shrink wrap modifier, shrink wrap bone constraints on that part. So this mesh will shrink wrap to that, but then this shrink wrap will cause some interference in the meshes, especially the face mesh, lower face, so the muzzle mesh and the lips. So it will require data transfer with just for this custom corner data at custom normals. Maybe we can have some usually this is the, well, many things will work here, but I think the nearest face interpolated would have the best. I'm not sure here. And face data, this is something else. I'm not sure. And then we can even with shift do the same for the UVs. So this can sort of also help. So I'm not sure if it was that UI custom, because I don't see UI anywhere. Rig UI. Oh, that's, yeah. So that thing. So this is the, I don't know how to use it. It's a bone manager add-on, rig UI, right? Something. Now this is another add-on. This is bone widget, and so there's, I know there's some rig UI thing here, or maybe it's some property here that exists. I'm not sure. In the end panel, rig UI, was that one? Bone manager. Oh, bone manager, rig UI. So I don't use this. I don't know how to use it. There's very little content on this. I think it requires some scripting, and this is stuff about, it's like how to get those panels, fancy panels on through for a bone manager, like in Rigify add-on. When you have a generated rig, you have those buttons that for the bone layers and other features. And so I think this is, so I still have to learn how that happens. There is a, I never figured out, because the amount of, so I think there is something, where is this bone manager? I think there is this tutorial from Pierrick Picot. I think he mentions another add-on which has some features like bone manager, but it's a paid, partially free paid add-on, and this one will allow to, I don't use it, or it's like, yeah, those kind of panels, right? So, and I think he has another tutorial I haven't found here, but it doesn't really explain how to do. Nobody explains how bone manager, even in the documentation, it's not properly explained. Bone manager add-on, yeah. So basically, it's here. You get, this one is free. So bone manager, it's entirely free, and the only problem is that, yeah, maybe for Blender, the newest version of Blender, it is working, right? it will depend. There are many versions here to download, but the last one is working for Blender 4.2 LTS. Then we have earlier versions if you want. I think they can be downloaded. And yeah, this is famous, like it's a lifesaver, but I recommend it, but I don't know how to use it, some of its features. So export rig UI, yeah, some stuff here, and there's just no documentation that I could find. I thought that maybe if I learn that I can make a tutorial, but it's not for now. It's not, we can live with that, right? So that is the thing, right? So let's go for the wave painting here, folks. I'd like to, yeah, that will be nice if I can improve this. So we don't need the mouth interior stuff. So just want to assess. Alright, so here, how to make a good selection. Maybe I've made a... Alright, folks, let's say we are in wave paint mode and we want to have some cool selections on these 1, 2, 3 mask features, especially the trees, non-masking, and 1, 2 is the basic stuff, right? Face, paint mask and for the face, and or vertex selection for the vertices. So if I have here on the face, I want to face loop. So what we can do, W to tweak, and then from here we can just do as if we were on, sorry, it's not this one, it's select box. No, I am wrong, so I need this. Okay, I need to be on the mask, and then, yeah, so I think any here would do. So just Shift Alt, just as if you are in easily done and said. In this case, it's Shift Alt left mouse button click, right? And then we can have face loops, and then wow. So this is some guy that made some update on the Blender 4.0, I think, or made a quick tip on that. I've recorded but documentation, but then here is how we can use this, and then you know the control numpad plus or minus to do that, so we can still keep adding those face loops sometimes. Okay, so I have some difficulty here, but okay, there we go. Yeah, so this is wave painting 2.0, right? Still limited, but super powerful. The problem is not the wave painting itself, it's the skinning methods, right? Skinning algorithm. This is what really makes this thing very painful. You know, artifacts, right? The horrible ones that we prefer didn't exist. Thank you. I am currently learning rigging from scratch. Ah, yeah, that custom rigs is important unless you want to rely on some add-on like Rigify. It's also, yeah, I tried Rigify and Cloud Rig. Yes, the extension, but they need some advanced knowledge to customize. What do you suggest is the best way to learn rigging? Well, basically, that's always the mob is the following thing. If you want to, if you have a lot of time to spend in learning rigging, then I would suggest you to learn custom rigging, right? It's making custom rigs, and then yeah, for a while or forever, I don't know, you can ignore those add-ons for a while, although they are good. It's not like we can learn the basics of them to make some, to learn from them, some, see what they do, how they work, although it's complicated, but we can we can learn from them also, even while doing custom rigs. And there is a certain level, this is advanced even for me, that we can make custom rigs inside the Rigify rig, for example. But this is beyond my my level. I would have to. There are techniques, but there's not very common. Very few people talk about it. So, if you have a lot of time, like I did, I would really suggest learning custom rigs. Like you can learn from the internet alone. You can follow some courses, right? Some people sell courses. There are some courses which are maybe older, or some are free. Like there is Deco that has some content online that is good for beginner, but it's extensive. Not like it takes time, but they are good content for. You can also check my guide there. This is free in the video description. I'm making this sort of documentation here. This rigging. There's a lot of. It's like topics. Like it's very. And then there is all linked to some content of interest. It's incomplete, of course. So if you have money, you can try to rely on the other courses, right? There are many famous riggers out there. But if you rely solely on the content on YouTube, you must expand your learning custom rig stuff. Rigging from scratch, then expect that it will take a while, right? It can take more than 1 year to get really good at rigging and familiar with all the tools, right? Without special guidance, right? Because now there are way more content than like 2 years ago. This is impressive, but still you will be looking one video after the other. So it can be very confusing, right? What is important, what is not. So this is complicated, right? So this is why if you have a lot of time, this is a good idea. But otherwise, if you need to learn faster for whichever reason, then I think you might want to make a course, or also you might, at least if you don't, you need to have a focus on specific projects. Like maybe you're working on low poly, maybe realistic, I don't know, characters, maybe robots, maybe rigging for game, rigging for animation inside Blender, I don't know, cartoon, whatever. Maybe you're focusing on 2D rigging instead of 3D rigging. I know Blender has grease pencil now, so if you have a focus that you can make projects with that right away, then this is a good thing. Because if you start learning like generically without a course, that will take forever. You'll learn, yes, but this is it's very time consuming, because rigging, everything in rigging is like a super topic. Like if you want to rig a mount, there's thousands of problems, issues, and approach. If you want to rig joints, this is a complete. If you want physics rigging, if you want rigging for 3D animation, is something. If you want rigging for 3D animation inside Blender, is something. If you want rigging for exportation outside Blender, maybe for game engines, it's another story. So there's a lot of features you can use for rigging inside Blender, and use for animation inside Blender is not the same outside of Blender. So you cannot use them, like bendy bones. So you need to convert the bendy bones to something else. So here I have bendy bones. So the idea. Thank you so much for welcome. This channel is for that also. I'm new to your channel, and I'm studying your page like a bylaw. That's inspiring. I am following Deco as well. Yeah, Deco is very good, because even now he's pumping up some content, and I think he makes live streaming also. He has very valuable advice, and I think he's very generous in his approach. So It worth learning from his channel as well. My current problem is wrist twist on F key arm with 3 chains. Yeah, so the rig twist, I have one here. So basically this is the idea of the twisting of. So if you use bendy bone, let's say here. So yeah, so basically, if you don't have a lot of time, also I suggest you to focus on something like Rigify add-on. Not like, oh, I'm gonna, with the expectation that you learn rigging with Rigify add-on. But if you learn how to rig the basics of Rigify add-on on Cloud Rig, etc., you can, maybe it's a low progress, but you can sort of already have some. This is something I didn't do, but I have one part of me that I would like to be able to make Rigify rigs, like this CG Dive, you know, CG Dive, it's another guy, so it's yeah, rigging for 3D. So you can use the Cloud Rig for or the Rigify or both, and I think to make some pre-made rigs, right? Generate rigs, and then see what are the not the mechanisms, but you see what is the control rig, what is expected, and what to for a, let's say a conventional Rigify rig, right? And then you can at least animate some characters, and if you learn how to pose that, use the Rigify rig, this is something good, because until now I've rigged a lot, so and custom rig, so still today I don't know how to use this for 3D animation, the I key switch, I key snap, I key F key stuff like, and those are special features, are quite advanced to set up, or intermediate at least, and sometimes they are not even necessary, but Rigify use it directly. So if you get if you can learn how to animate with them, how they work, then you can learn more directly from Rigify rigs, because you already you can survive using them. Because one thing is making Rigify rigs, another thing is using them as a 3D animator. And so by experimenting with 3D animation with Rigify, you can have better ideas of what could be a more conventional rig for 3D animation for Blender, and maybe for other softwares also. This is sort of important in my opinion. But anyway, so let's go back to the, yeah, so I couldn't say everything, but I think what you need to do anyways, keep learning, but focus on the project, right? Don't just start away rigging experiment. You know, you need a project, maybe even it's a character project. Try to have a project, or more than one, at least one project that you make I'm gonna make a rig for this project, right? And then you complete that, and then you can show off or whatever, but show to friends, ask for feedback, because the project will bring you concrete issues to solve on your own, and you have to find the solutions for that. And then is where you really start to learn rigging, not on abstract problems and looking at tutorials. No, you need to get your hands dirty, so you need a concrete project, and probably a project that involves you in some way. Certainly doesn't need to be a big project. If it's a small project, even better to start with. Then you already get, and you focus on what the project needs, right? Yeah, so like complete a character can take a lot of time, but if the character is simple and you like the character, then okay, let's give yourself, it's a challenge, right? And then you can learn rigging based on a project, right? So I think this is the best approach, is when you have something that really involves and that has concrete objective, right? because of course learning for the sake of learning is also concrete project, can be very engaging, but it's not, sometimes it's just not very strategically interesting. Okay, so for the twist bones, basically we have like there's the twist bones, right, which is a special. I don't use twist bones because I rely on bendy bones. So Dico has tutorial on this topic, I think. Let's see, where's the arms here. So I have just, so this is a bendy bone. You see that it has some segmentation, it's just one bone, and actually there's some twisting feature here because it's a bendy bone, and bendy bones twist by nature if they had the proper handle. So you see it twists the mesh because the bendy bone is a deformed bone. And so the only thing it has here is that it holds it holds a, I'm trying to rig a cyborg woman I modeled. Yeah, so maybe this facilitates because it's a half robotic thing, so maybe not super organic, right? Organic rigging is the hardest thing in my opinion, for plenty of reasons. So the bendy bone, you see you have the twisting just with the, if we got twist bones, hence, however, that would mean that you have to create these extra bones in the middle that will follow this, but their only function is to make this segmentation twisting. So I think with copy rotation on different values, something like that for each of the bones, but I don't have that twist bones now. And the bendy bone is it's only one here that needs to bend for the forearm. The settings here, if you use this, is just, yeah, it's just automatic to the beginning, because twisting from the base, from the upper arm connection joint there is not super useful. I have tried, it's bizarre. I think this is an absolute, well, if this will depend on how it will end, usually absolute for the end, then you just have this whichever target there for the handle, then you just have the twisting done, working, right? Of course this is a deformed bone, and I think it also has a stretch tool. Yeah, the copy location is for something else, but the stretch tool is the essential thing, so it will stretch to, in this case, yeah, it will just do the stretching here in the case of the, all right, so this is one way to do the forearm stretching feature, right? So with a cyborg model, indeed, character, this is there are a lot of things you can do also that can make it more complicated, but I think it's a good beginning, because if you start full organic, that can be more complicated. So yeah, I think that's a good start. So here, let's see what we need here for the, and the good thing about Rigify is the following, because like you can already rig your, what you could do is make the Rigify rig just to have the control rig ready, and then you just try to implement. So there are guys like that are very focused on the deform rig, which is how it's to solve the artifacts. Like you can use that shape keys for that, corrective shape keys, but can also use deform bones, helper bones. So you could focus on, if you are very anatomical oriented, then you probably would like to focus a lot on the deform rig, which is to make the anatomic and in motion, right, ideal. So this is a big hard problem in organic rigging, because the artifacts, right? And so this can be even harder than any other control rig stuff, even though there are control rig stuff which are hardcore stuff also difficult. So there's difficulties everywhere. But in the deform rig, there are problems. Like I'm struggling with the deform rig for the melt rig. I never thought melt rig could be so complicated, but yeah, because I'm trying to do cartoony expressions like 2D, then melt rigging is like a nightmare. So this is like, just must show respect to, because it's super. Coincidentally, I left the melt for the end, so I had to learn ice rig first until I've reached the problem, which was way more difficult than whatever thing I could think of. So melt rigging for like very expressive cartoon expressions. That is so now I'm even willing to migrate, because I haven't found the ideal solutions, to grease pencil, like I was showing in the beginning, right? So we can make like grease pencil to look 2D on top of a 3D model or something like that. Let me show you real quick here. So Blender is allowing us to do this kind of stuff. So this is, it's the same character, but it was attempting some where's the bone thing here, and turns out that yeah, these lips are grease pencil stuff, and it's not complete. I'm just making an essay, but these lips deform much better than the other ones, because they are grease pencil. They are much more free to deform anyways. So I'm gonna migrate to that, because this is how hard certain rigs can become depending on what you want to do. So this is why it's good to try to start simple, right? And as cyborg, right, sometimes super simple is also not very didactic, because if you don't have enough geometry, then you might not see the real consequences of certain rigging approaches that are being applied. So it's important also to have something like, in terms of geometry, intermediate also. Not too much or not too little. So you have the big picture. So I have a better picture of how rig works, right, in Blender. Why this is so sluggish? I think this is the subdivision. Yeah, let's turn this off. It will hinder my progress here, but for the visualization, but not for the performance. Yeah, so I think here I did it really some smoothness on this. Let's invert the mask and see what we got here. Well, this seems to be safe. Yeah, can do that. Now I don't want these ones. Yeah, maybe this is just too far. Yeah, we don't need this too extreme stuff. This should be enough. Yeah. Also, maybe I don't want to reach. Yeah, I'll limit to this threshold here. Even less. Let's try this. Right, then next one. Yeah, so I'm gonna take off here. These twig bones will not help here. Yeah, let's expand this up to here, then and this for the mouth top can be that. Yeah, so control invert here. I could consider the mouth interior. Yeah, the mirror here will be a problem, so let's turn it off. It's just for wave painting. Brush. Gonna, well said, thanks. So the idea indeed, let's see if I get anything else for resource in rigging. Yeah, of course, curiosity. Yeah, I think I've said the most important basal stuffs. Yeah, so there's something interesting in rig is that like every part of the rig, like of the body, can be an individual singular issue, right? Of course they relate, right? But mouth rigging, you can know everything about eyes rigging, and then you go to mouth rigging and you need to learn completely other stuff. Or whichever you know for eyes rigging is just not sufficient for mouth rigging, and maybe vice versa. So it's like rigging is often like that. It's very niched. Everything is super niched, and so this can be very frustrating sometimes because it's like you finish one problem, you solve one problem, but well, it's like you feel like you still don't know rigging because there's still some problem that is just bigger and seemingly impossible to solve. So perfectionism is a nightmare. I think for rigging is like the nightmare. So if you already suffer from perfectionism, you need to, all artists I think have some sort of perfectionism input, so this is myself included. So but maybe some struggle more than others, and so perfectionism is like a very dangerous trap for rigging, especially organic rigging, I think. So must be very careful. This is why needs to focus on projects, right? Projects that make sense, right? Not projects that have poor like, how do you say, not liability, yeah, I don't know how to call it, like if you have a project but it's a personal project, that maybe you'll give yourself, not saying it will happen, but there's a tendency that the artist will just give too little priority to finishing the project, and hence this is very dangerous because of the perfectionism. Then like for example, I have a character that I'm rigging or re-rigging for about, I'm sort of crazy but for like 2 years, this is a new character, but she's very similar to the original, and I'm already rigging her for a while right now, because I'm trying to adapt to make my main goal is 3D animation, right? But I found rigging very pleasing. I was very absorbed. This is why I made a lot of rigging experiments over time. But then the problem is that the style that I'm doing, my original, because I'm a 2D artist background, I have this background, so I want to adapt my 2D drawing style to 3D. This is hardcore problem. So this takes, and this is not just modeling, right? It bypasses, it gets to go through rigging, and there the nightmares comes, right? Modeling is already in itself mesh geometry, mesh topology, shapes, model sheet adaptation, all that's super hard at all. It's super challenging on its own, but then you have to put the character design into motion, like the puppetry thing. You need to rig it before you can even animate it. So, and then you start to see the problem, right? So this happened to me. I didn't know anything about rigging about 2 years ago. I was very scared about rigging because it didn't make much sense to me. I knew animation. I want a character. I thought that I just have to model my character and then I rig it and then I can animate it. Great. All too simple, right? But actually I found out that rigging was way more complicated and interesting. And of course one part of the interest was the difficulty, the challenge, because nothing worked ever. You needed then face the skinning algorithms, right? And because I do the shapes, right, the 2D character design shapes, I'm obsessed with the ideal shapes, and that is why 3D rigging, I could never expect that. I was absorbed by the 3D rigging. And then I found out that I preferred even rigging to modeling, because I knew nothing about rigging. When I found that, I realized that actually I like rigging. But the problem is that I like rigging too much. So I need to stop that and make more I feel complete. So so you need to adapt, you need to, as you learn, right, you need to understand what combines with you that will not destroy you, right? Because if you get in those traps, right, labyrinths, that of creativity and learning, then you won't go nowhere, right? You need to have some sort of, maybe I already have, so this is just, I'm just telling just because this stuff happened to me many times and I had to find ways through that. So the thing is that learning, right, rigging, organic rigging can take a lot of time, but it's a learning like anything else. There's no mystery, right? You keep doing it, you learn no matter what, right? So it's not like a monster. What is a monstrous thing is that, well, most people hate it for good reasons, right? If the methods we use were just a bit more convenient than they actually are, then probably much more people would like, or at least not hate rigging so much. So I understand people that hates rigging and that that might not understand how is it possible that someone likes it. So in the future, if the world still exists, the human, then it might be possible that we end up the Stone Age of rigging, at least for open source software, right? So the problem, one of the big problems, of course, in my opinion, on rigging is the skinning method, right? The skinning algorithm. So those conventional skinning algorithm like linear blend skinning, LBS, or linear blend skinning is the conventional one, and it's like nearly impossible to have a good time rigging that stuff because it's like countering the problems of so riggers will lose a lot of time to make the correctiveness, the corrections, right? And this is also some sort of trap we can find ourselves into. So I know so there's a guy that I've learned a lot from. This deform rig stuff, right? So I have like Philo Vivero, let's see, I can't find, I think it's here. Okay, so this guy here creates these female characters, and he goes deep into some sort of armature deform rig type. So he doesn't use shape keys, or he does everything with the armature deform, and he has been rigging those things for more than 6 years now, I think. So, and so he also has got some course, but I don't know his course. I just know, yeah, he has a Discord channel, so there are many good riggers there. So maybe I'm there, by the way. So there is. If you're curious about organic rigging, then you can learn from that group and from his some of his videos. But his videos are not super tutorials. I think that the ones on YouTube, they give some insight on kind of stuff that you can do just with bones. And the problem, there are too many problems right in rigging, so I'm not gonna mention. There are lot of preference also, like some riggers will prefer to use shape keys, some will just prefer to not use shape keys at all, some will be okay mixing them both, which sometimes can be very, very complicated. And there is geometry nodes, so maybe some crazy guys out there will try to make full rigs with geometry nodes. This I don't know, I cannot recommend. But geometry nodes, yes, I don't know exactly how they can be useful for organic rigging. So far, it doesn't convince me. But there seems to be some setup presets that made in geometry node that maybe can be helpful for some rigging stuff. So I think geometry nodes has a lot of potential for the future of rigging in Blender, but for now, even though it's not even exportable, I think, or it would be very complicated, but they hold some potential. This is so here I still don't know why. Maybe I should wave paint this thing. So this is the top. Try to smooth these areas here. Why this is like that? Let's try to expand. Now this is too strong. Oh, haha! Just learned this. Now this is smooth. Okay, so let's make a quick highlight here. You see, sometimes you're so used to certain habits, and there's so little good content out there that you really need. Sometimes you really need that. It's just hard to find new stuff that makes the difference sometimes. So, folks, here, check this. I'm trying to smooth, but it's very hard. I cannot smooth even. I don't want to push this. Okay, but then I get this stuff, and you see, it's too much, right? So This is horrible, right? So what to do? Well, if you get this, no, this is too much, right? But if you get this very low, well, the strain, right? Then you start to be able to push some of this. See here, if I push from here, of course it will be bad, but if I push from this low vertices here, then low weighted vertices, then it starts to be good. Yes, so this is a good trick here. So smear on very low strain. Of course, you realize that there's no wave here, so this is just like the blur and like the average. They don't have, even though you can have some wave here, it does nothing. It's just about strength. And there's the pressure too. So this is ignore the waves here. It's just the strength. So if you have very low strength, like I did here, and we press the proper vertices, push, drag from the proper vertices, then we can have some good expansion of the blur. I'd like that the blur tool would do that, but it just don't do, right? So we need to use it from the smear tool, which in this case is a good thing. Then of course we can reduce the blur here and blur these areas. I have to revise those things, probably just painted some extra waves, maybe some rogue waves somewhere, but you see there's enough masking here. Maybe here I want to expand the blur. Yeah, so you got the idea, right folks? Smear tool can be useful for this kind of expanding the blur in very subtle ways if properly used. And of course there are conditions where it will, here I'm not having problem, but you know sometimes it doesn't respond well, it go completely crazy, and so in those cases we might want to use the radial. Then the radial can also do the expansion, right? So I think this is like super powerful tool, so this would be a little even better maybe. But this one has waves and has strength, so it's a bit more complicated, but it does a great job as well, right? Yeah, so this sounds also a good solution. Let's reduce here and blur this. And here I have maybe too much, and so that's it for a highlight here. Right, so sometimes I have issues with X mirror, doesn't seem to work for me. Yeah, the case here I'm using the mirror modifier, right? So I just cannot work without this. If the topology is not completely symmetrical in the model, or if you're not having a mirror modifier, if the bones are not symmetric, then the wave paint, by their naming, right, the wave paint won't work. In case you mentioned the symmetry for wave painting without a mirror modifier. But when you have the mirror modifier, if the bones have conventional naming, if there exists vertex group for it, so for example there is no vertex group for it, so that happens, right? The bone here is on both sides, but then you just click here and it regenerates there. But then it regenerates at the end, so just have to sort by name here, and they all get reorganized. Yeah, so this only the mirror modifier can regenerate like that. So if there is like here and here, then this makes absolutely no difference, I think, because a mirror modifier, so this is for yeah, it will be for something else, right? For when you don't have the mirror modifier for wave painting, maybe for the bones, right? And go on edit mode or other stuff for the armature. This seems to be pinching, so let's reduce this. Now this lower here, oh, I forgot something important. There's also this part in the interior. And for the top lip, some rogue waves there. Hold control with the add will remove the rogue waves, and here for this it goes until this vertex, right, this edge loop. So maybe here, yeah, this is annoying. So in this case, let's hide the mirror and try to push this see more rogue waves here. This doesn't need to be perfect, but I want this to be consistent with the right. So here we got this stuff going on, and for the top lip, that should be no, top side corner, yeah, lip corner top, that should be sufficient. And for that, oh yeah, I see we got some problem. Oh no, this is the tongue, this is a hole, this is correct, it was not a mistake. We have rogue waves here. All that, yeah, take off, yeah, and then we can blur from here. Yeah, this mesh doesn't need to move a lot. Oh, here we can probably get better blurring. That seems to be here we're missing some. So it's especially here that things are very inaccurate. Here already start from this positioning, right? There's two vertices, right? Two edge loops there. Okay, so this will be the threshold. Try to get a little symmetric in this part. And 2 and 1, yeah, one face and two faces for the top. So yeah, exactly like that. This we can make some loops, yeah, to be better, but it's just this one, so it should be simple enough. Yeah, I want to blur these ones. Here the back part is not super important, just making sure we got the, no, that should be a mistake. So there's a lip top and a lip bot, so we can separate them. So this is a technique that I've conceived to have more control on the lip corner, but they start exactly on the same position, right? And the top follows the bottom. No, not the. These are deformed bones, not the. It's about their twig bones that have the. From which we actually pose them. Right here now, this part, yeah, we want this blurring, and here we can, why not, let's redo this stuff here. Gonna push this a little more stronger there. I'm not sure what I want in this part. Probably I don't want this the jawline. Yeah, I'll go until yeah, maybe we want the jawline. So this needs to be very accurate. It doesn't mean perfectionism, it just needs to be carefully done, otherwise it just will do garbage. It will do also bad results even if we try to do this. So this is very complicated, but I have enough experience so I know what should be, usually what should be the sufficient. It seems to require the retake. Oh, the jawline, yeah. These waves are just thresholding the. It will be very, very subtle. Won't. Not. This is nearly unnecessary, right? And we can test, of course. I don't have animation here to test, so this unfortunately a bit lazy here. I should make some animation, right, for the mouth, because that will be the correct way to handle that, but I'm just more correcting those stuff, so I'll remember that for other stuff, other cases. So this one, yeah, let's pick that corner, expand to this threshold here, and why not, yeah, all this, right? Looks like, yeah, there are some rogue waves there. So I already know I don't want, I want the chin, the jawline. But I will stop by here, yeah. They have some very subtle influence in the lip corner. Here I'm not sure, yeah, because this is the bottom lip, maybe this is not a terrible idea. It's just some shading illusion that there's no waves there. But they are, okay. And just try to blur this, seems to be too sharp. And here probably we'll try to reduce this, or actually test the deforms, then yeah, that's, I think that is fine, or not, maybe not. Maybe we need, yeah, let's take off this. So here I'll have to expand this. That is complicated because the mirror the plane of symmetry has strong waves already, so it can't. This is annoying. So we're gonna just reduce here dramatically, and then we're just gonna reblur this, so with much less waves, and that will sort of something like that. Now we have some, now this bone will have a little more power, so they can differentiate the mesh a little better. So here we're gonna reinforce these waves. Here probably I don't want that much. Let's see, for the top lip it goes, it can go nearly this the middle, right? So it will nearly reach the middle. Okay, so it will be like here. So same idea, we reach the jawline, the chin, and here we just start to smooth this a lot. Here maybe smooth, we want some better. Alright, and here, no, not this, just we're gonna reach for still the continuation of the jawline. Maybe we will end about here, just that. So it has some sort of influence in that extremity, but it's nearly nothing. And here we want some blur here. And here we have same problem with the that seems to be sufficient. So now all the melt interior has got some sort of, we've been through all, right? Oh, there's some, I think this is correct. It's just how it is. No, apparently we have some rogue waves here. Now, sometimes this happens, so I'm not sure. Very mysterious. Let's delete this, recreate. Okay, this now seems to be correct. So very strange mirror artifact there. Sort by name. Let's reset these bones, reset their tweaks. And I think there's some more melt here. Reset. Turn on the mirror. Let's bring some. This was some. Now I think it's much better. I still have these problems on the corner, but hold on. We need the sub. What are you world building for, bro? So welcome on Kmig. So yes, welcome Kmig. So this is for 3D animation project, actually a sci-fi project. Well, I have to. I'm gonna save here just to show what is this scenery. Maybe on the next days of the weekday I'll be doing something there's a Sci-Fi, I think that's the one, right? I have a Sci-Fi starship here. I need to, yeah, it will be sluggerish, but okay. So I have a scenery here that currently it's some texture color map here that I need to bake those. They are all procedural textures, so they are lagging a lot. But already, at least there are no shaders here, only on some materials. So I need to. So I'm making this, and I want to animate a scene here with that character. But I still gonna model the room where the action will happen. Here is just, yeah. So this is the starship. That's some crazy idea. So let's go on. So this character Aisha here, even though she doesn't look like this, is sci-fi stuff. Although I have some version for fantasy, right? Also, but yeah. So this one I'm doing for, in this case, for sci-fi cartoony stuff. So here, let's see what we can achieve here. We got, yeah, the subdivision. I see that I probably need to retake the mouth. Better to look at the arcades, right? No, I haven't enabled the subdivision at all. There we go. Now, which comes with lag. This is shape keys. So this is, I struggle a lot to figure out how to combine those things, but finally, so this is a shape key carrier bone, while these are armature deformed bones. So, and we have the, yeah, those are the tweak of the lips. This moves the arcades. And we can do some, yeah, stuff here, and also, yeah. So this has some expressions, but I haven't finished that. So I have some sort of, for example, happy, sad. I need to retake this anyways, but then we have some tall. This I got some. Of course, this will require some change of the arcades, right? We have wide. So this is the universal sonic malware rig setup with some extras, of course, that from other rig tutorials. Like there's a like Joe Carolino's simple mouth rig for the jaws is very good. It's a very low poly stuff, so it's sort of easy to set up, and I've used some of those references to combine into the. Okay, then we have the universal sonic mouth rig, which is way more complicated, which allows this kind of thing here, right? Which is not totally working here as good as it should, but this is because the character design on the muzzle is just too complicated and is not very roundish, so it's super complicated to get this right, and this is why I'm willing to do this with gray space. So we have some, okay, the happy, we can do the happy with the bones too if you want. So it's like, not that we need the shape keys, but there are some expressions that the shape keys are very important. Like this is nearly impossible to do with the, and it's not that good, right? It's just okay. That's then we have some round thing. This is round O shape for the lips, and we can combine with the tall width and with the wide. So this is the, yeah, O shape. There's a kiss shape which I don't have yet. This is still also very hard would be to do with the. Here I have to push this. The lips, yeah, because the lips, the tweak lips, they can move forward. Where are the? Oh, here. Yeah, so you get we can do some crazy stuff, right? So but it's very, very hard to do this and maintain the accuracy of the rig. And here we have also this expression here. We can pull the, you see that the arcades, they also deform, so they get some, yeah, I have some thing there, I don't remember what is, some line. Okay, anyway, so it's not perfect, still working on, well, Denzel, yeah, so this is crazy what you can do in Blender, right? But so I'd like, if you're doing a more cartoony thing, like the Universal Sonic Meld rig is here. I'll just show you guys what this is about. So this is the Universal Sonic Meld rig. This guy here is a genius. He got it from some, I think, Japanese artwork, like there's some reference here, but he made it for Blender in a specific way. So very interesting. So it's not totally a tutorial, it's more a documentation, but the principles used here for mount rigging are very, very advanced. So I've learned a lot, so I've tried to reproduce this on my own character design. But you see the muzzle shape here is Sonic, right? So it's like, it's very rounded. My character design is sharper. So this creates a lot of complication. So I need to move the chin in order to have this, so I've built on top of that, and there's still some problems. So, anyways, and the other Joy Carlino one is the easy mount rig. So this also a genius tutorial, like for beginner, but even for other, this is super good to get a starting condition. This worth every minute. So one of the best melt rigging tutorial out there, even though it's super simplified, right? It won't allow you to do much alone on its own, but it will teach some fundamentals that can recurrently be useful later. For example, so you see this chin here, so there's another jaws thing here that is just like Jericho Linux, but with some more specifics. So I made a crazy combination. We don't need this because I already have this that can do that. So but this is just to see that how this can be thought, right, and structured. Hold on, let's see here. This is, there's some strange deforms on the arcades there. I don't, it seems to be some rogue waves. Let's see. Yeah, it's an armature deformed stuff. Why it is receiving this row? Okay, let's make a test here. What if I... Okay, I cannot delete the head. There's just one waves there. Which bone is deforming it? Yeah, so there's some... It shouldn't be doing this. Okay, let's reset. Let's move this to the open here, okay. Okay, as I move up, it starts to... Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, so this is one case scenario. I think this is worth a highlight because I think I know how to solve this. This is one of those cases, scenarios where we're gonna use the craziest feature possible of mirror modifier rig. I was waiting one day to see if that could be useful for something, and apparently this will be the case. Hope that it will work, folks. Let's see here. So we have the arcades, bones. Let's make a highlight. So folks, here you see I have an artifact deforming on the arcades, the top arcade. You see the bones are not deforming very well. This of course has to do with some bone constraints that I've made for this bone, which is unfortunate, but also I believe this is because of the wave painting. So there's just no stability in the center, and I have a mirror modifier on the arcades, right? And so I cannot paint the continuation here on the opposite side, the mirrored side. This is the original side, the left one. However, maybe you didn't know, if we go on the opposite side of the mesh with the other bone, like the right deformed bone for the top arcade, right side, so I cannot change the waves on the mirrored side, but I can affect the waves on the original side from that. But I cannot take off waves from that, but I can take waves from there. So what does it important? Why this is important? Because if I do this, look what happens on there. It mirrors, it automates. But if I have here, I can only paint this, right? But I cannot paint this. However, then why if I want to expand the waves here? Well, what I do is select this one, and I expand from here, from the mirrored bone. Okay, let's simplify this stuff with hiding this mesh, and also the eyes and the hair and yeah, all that. So that means that I can stabilize. They are both, because of the mirror fry, right? They are stabilizing this line here despite the bendiness of the bone, because now they are sharing waves. Maybe it is not a super idea, but I think that sort of helped, right? So you can probably, instead of using these maximum waves, we're gonna just continue here, maybe with some, yeah, let's use the smooth here and expand this to oblivion. Actually, iterations, expand that to the, yeah, let's max expansion here, and let's push this to, yeah, maybe not something like that, but just so that we have some more structured waves there, and I think that should work. And then I'm just gonna blur this for more consistency. So this is the technique you'll see just once in a lifetime. I never found a, because usually we don't want the, we want to, if we're using modifier, mirror modifier, just don't want these crossing waves, right? But for certain cases like this seems to be useful. So now the waves are like this, so they are symmetric, but they are corresponding and giving stability, the shared waves, to the center. Maybe this is not sufficient to complete the rig. But yeah, now this is better, right? So we don't have the artifact anymore. Yeah, so that's, even though the bone here is going crazy, right? Because of some automation on this on the twig bones there. Okay, so this is the highlight, the secret mirrored vertex group and how it interacts with wave painting. Yeah, so this is very rare stuff. So until now, after more than 1 year, I think I've learned that this interaction existed. I have never found a real case scenario where this could be useful. And there we go. So here we got to do the same here. We're going to pick the opposite side, and we're gonna just pick the armature and the bottom arcade. We're gonna hide all these bones just from the arcades. And now here we got the mirrored side, and we can do the same, right? So smooth the same idea, and let's push this to the extremity. And then yeah, this sounds good, and then just blur here on some low value, and that seems good. So by having shared waves, we give stability to these their double deforms, right? So I think this is something I should have conceived since the beginning. So it was my mistake to ignore that this could happen, right? So by doing that, we fix here many, although I wanted to do more than just mount rigging, we want on multiple topics here on the mount rigging and arcades inclusive. And so don't get confused, this is the arcade bones, because this is for a cartoon character expression. I want to have the arcades deformed just as those Pixar, or not exactly like that, of course I'm not that good, maybe I'm 1,000 light years from any advanced rigging, like professional rigging like that, but I can tell that after 2 years, and I started rigging like in end 2021 in Blender, just Blender, so 21 doesn't even count, 22, 23, yeah, about 3 years rigging, maybe nearly 3 years, yeah, so counting 24. So here where's the arcade top? Okay, here it is. So let's get the list there of tasks and see what we can cut. So you see, it's beautiful results if we do things properly. It will help. This is why the character design, yeah, this is why I've mentioned before, for if you're still there, yeah, Denzel. So it's the character design. If we want to match certain character designs for 2D rigging or some other realistic thing, whatever, realistic and stylized, doesn't matter, but the adaptation, right, the more there's maybe some character designs that we might think at first glance, oh, this is piece of cake, right? You end up in rigging, no, thanks, that is too hard. No, like, and sometimes we can't know in advance. We need to see what the rig does, how the rig kills the character, to decide that, well, this is not a good character to rig after all, right? So of course any character is good for rigging if we want, but the challenge can be beyond our skill, right? Yeah, so you see how this bone, it attracts these ones by some just a copy. Well, there's shrink wrap at the end. The shrink wrap is targeting the ghost mesh which is behind, but yeah, ghost muzzle. This is for the universal sonic melt rig. Then it goes at the end, because after all the transforms, whatever, then it shrink wraps. Otherwise it goes wild, it doesn't work properly, so it needs always to be in the end in this kind of setup. So just some copy rotation just for the handle, and then the copy transform is what will make it follow. So the copy transform is just local space with owner, local space on a certain degree and influence. So when I pull this bone here, then they will tend to follow like mix before original. So with this combination of stuff we can get it go more or less, so it will try to follow there. Of course this is not, sometimes it's not perfect, so we can have some intersection of the arcades, but then we can fix this by just reposing this. There will be many ways to do this automation. You can also pose this manually if you want. Alright, let's go back here and check what we can do more about this. I am with you all stream. Oh yeah, okay, nice. So here this let's get to check. Thanks for watching the following this thing. So let's, sorry folks, here I need to, so yeah, we retake that. Let's just note the timing here. So this today is, so I have all this list here because this is a big project. Even though it's a simple, just one character, this, if you see the amount of bones that I have here, you'll realize that here we have show all. Yeah, not so many bones, right, in the end, but every structure here, there are things here are quite complicated, or like I'm using Wiggle bones. Wiggle 2 add-on, it's free. It's for the bone physics. It lags with the, you need baking, so it's annoying baking the 3D animation, but it gives it from the animation Wiggle 2 add-on itself, so you can bake it directly from, no, not from, from here, right? Bake Wiggle, but otherwise this is just seems that if you render without baking, then it crashes, or it might crash, or the deforms the motion, the physics bones are not very good, so it gets better as we bake, despite the quality. I think that's how physics work in general, right? I'm not very good in this topic, but I've been learning. So yeah, so we have this character has a lot of cool features in the rig. This is sort of experimental too, because I'm using some combination here, just some, let's use here this one, isolate visibility. So if I have some, I'm using for 3D animation inside Blender, I'm using the Auto I key, which is how they say in English, it's underrated thing. So it's the, I made some shortcut here, but Alt X, but here this is super cool. Basically you have I key, like inverse kinematic, for any chain of bones that you want, and you can control the extend with this Auto I key length feature. So here I've shown some highlights how this can work, and so we can, you see that, yeah, the deforms are a little bad sometimes, so you can have, and this is for all the fingers, or even we can combine this with the conventional I key bone constraint on the limbs, right? So we can have this. So instead of this, which everyone knows, we can also combine and do this, or more, right? You see the and if I want to do with both hands, right? So, and okay, then let's say that you want to do this, then here it might have some difficulty, but it's still feasible. Just get the I don't know, let's get this bone here, so pick this and this, and voila, so you have, and this is not I key, but this is, so I need to grab to get those. And you can have I key also from the head. So there's no I key bone constraint here, folks. This is just auto I key option. And okay, then we want to pick the, oh, can works with the mirror too. Oh, I picked the wrong bone. This is a stretch and squash head thing. Some feature that I've added lately. It was very hard for me to figure out. So I can do great stuff. And there is also the spine thing. Let's see what here's. Okay, then have this stuff. This is the conventional, right? Bone constraint, but then same here as the arm, we can have pick this. We can have more motion, like because of this bone, because all this is into a chain. So I can. So these are control bones, but this one is in the Aiki chain of this, so I cannot control it unless I do a specific thing. So here I can expand, so see the chain. Now I don't know why I would do all this, but yeah, I know actually sometimes it's very nice, right? And we can also have the traditional. I'm not sure this is working perfectly here. Let's see. We have the swing of the. It's not this. I need to remember. So this, because of the spine I've made, is different. I see there's some twisting of the torso, which it's a bendy bone thing. I don't know if I want that, but I couldn't avoid that. So, but you have the swing here. So this is a more regular spine thing. But what I really wanted to do, there's some offset there, right? What I really wanted to do here would be still something I'm researching. Some friend. A friend is helping me with this, but it's the, how do you call it, the reverse F key, which is a super advanced thing. Does auto key work on any F key chain? Yes. Well, it will conflict with most bone constraints. So, for example, this is an F key chain. These are I key controller bones. I'd say. Usually we would have a control rig like this, but because this is sort of a special rig, so this is the control skeleton, right? We can do auto key from any of those bones with changing the I key chain there, I key chain length, auto I key length, right? But these are the master bones. So this allows, this is the regular auto key. These bones here, they are partially constrained to the conventional Aiki bone constraint, which is necessary for the pinning of the hand. Otherwise I cannot pin the hand from the, like, or not in this way, right? And this is also very important for the pinning of the feet, right? So the conventional conventional Aiki bone constraint is fundamental for these features. However, for pinning the, well, this would be something else. For pinning the, where is the? Okay, apparently I've changed the position accidentally. We have, for pinning of the joint, it's different. So you see the elbow is pinned now. So this is a driver with some sort of, it makes the I key offset, right? So this is just, you see some tutorial for that. Is the I key, how do you call that? Anyway, so we have this for the joints, because this is a very hard problem in the case of the joints in the middle of an I key chain. So these are like it's a more complicated stuff. I can't explain it now, but there's some. Okay, so then we have. Yeah, so there is, for example, I have an F key chain for the yeah, let's try for the hair. It's connected parenting. So I need to go there for the deformed physics. I'm playing some animation, that's why it's lagging. So I can pick this, and you see I can auto key that. So besides the physics, right, I can auto key from any of these bonds because they are all on F key chain. If they were not parented like that, disconnect bond, then the I key chain will stop there. You see, this is not true to the, I cannot, its limit is there, but if I get this other chain, then it restarts working from there, and this just becomes F key. What is, anyways, whichever comes after is becomes F key, and what is comes before is I key. And so this is how this works. However, auto I key option, but the I key bond constraint is different. It doesn't respect the disconnected parent. It will still do the inverse kinematics as long as the chain length goes. This special setup that I have here, I would like to make a tutorial in the future, but this big stuff, so I don't, I just made some demonstrations, some highlights, but I couldn't make a tutorial about the whole skeleton. It will be a bit more time consuming. Like for example, let's say I have the mechanism. Yeah, so this setup is a bit different. It used the I key bond constraint that is here. See, this is the most tutorials you see the bond here, the bond constraint, I key bond constraint here, but in this case I've made here, there's one guy that made this, which is the no, it's not here. Yeah, I can't find it, so let's try again. I think that's this one. Yeah, it's this one. So you have like famous guy there, famous for great tutorials, right? This not so much for rigging, right? Ryan King's art, so, but this I didn't know it was possible. So you have a different setup here for the I bond constraint, and this made me improve to a higher end this rig, because this frees this bond here from the bond constraint, and in this sense I can have more control possibilities, like this. Not that I wouldn't be able to do this before, but I think this makes it much better, more responsive. So because now I can even pose this bond provided I key length is auto I key length is long enough. Otherwise it sort of keeps constrained. Same for this one, although this one is a bit easier because it's further away from the beginning of the bond, the I key chain of the I key bond constraint, which was in this bond on the hand. So it becomes a 3 I key chain. Not necessarily, because I haven't figured this out yet, but if we check this mechanism again, now it's still a chain length of 2, but relational lines, where's the, yeah, for some reason it still considers, it's because it uses the, instead of using the tail, right, it uses the tail. Normally I think we use the tail, but in this case there's a different setup, it doesn't use the tail, so it's like, yeah, it's a different setup. So it still uses a chain length of 2. So with the tail, that the bond constraint will be here. Yeah, so Yeah, but this will probably destroy my rig, I think. I don't even want to know what that does to the rig. So right now, maybe later I investigate. So here, yeah. So the auto I key also it uses these arcs, which is the inverse kinematics panel, which also works for. So you can set those things. Only response when the bone is moved through auto from some inverse kinematics. Right, so these arcs, there's a bug I've discovered, these don't symmetrize the Z arcs, the limit Z. So you have this option here, and you symmetrize the bone. I hope they will fix it soon, because this is super important. Otherwise, perhaps to create some driver here or manually, it's super annoying. So yeah, so those arcs are relational lines. They are necessary for the fingers too. Especially, we don't need to use them everywhere, but sometimes you can just lock axis, lock I key axis, or sometimes you use the limit stuff, right? Anyways, I don't know if you have seen the Royal Skies tutorial, where I've seen many of those, where he makes a bone for the elbow. I tried that and my I key was not working properly. Like the I key bone constraint, like this one, the elbow target, the pole target, right? So the pole target, yeah, because some of his tutorials are very old, and he used some driver expressions sometimes which are non-optimal in my opinion. So it's like sometimes it can be difficult to reproduce exactly what he does. So usually what happens of problems for the pole target is the problem is that the control bones are parented. So you need to unparent them from the chains, right? You need to connect them to the, I don't know, some, for example, so master center of gravity bone, torso bone, or even the root bone. So in this case, this is parented to the master key is parented to the center of gravity, just as the foot. So the center of gravity is a master bone that moves all the. It's like for the when the character is. You got the idea. So, but it doesn't. It's still not the root. It's a pre-root bone, so you can probably useful for jumping and this kind of stuff. So you still have the relation from the root, and maybe for walking, I'm not sure. No, he made the upper arm, elbow, and lower arm and hand. So I made it three chain I key. It was hard to control the rotation down the chain. Oh yes. So basic, I think it including the shoulder, right? Including the shoulder in the process for some shoulder automation. Because we can here. There's a. So you can, there's some, right, you can pose the shoulder with the master shoulder bone, or even this control here, or we can, in this case we can have this, or yeah, if there is something wrong about the responsiveness of the I key, this could be some dependency cycles like I'm having here in some arcade top. What is causing? Yeah, so those are control F1. This is very important in rigging. Toggle system console window on top bar. So this is the, yeah, there's some just one thing that is not causing critical stuff, but It's annoying. Let's fix that. So you need to check if there's dependency cycle, especially if the rig is not you see it solves itself here. Ready, right? But some are evil. Some dependency cycles are evil, so they won't allow you to. I think my blender is about to crash. Yeah, it is crashing. Let's reopen this. And so some dependency cycles, you don't even see they exist because they are auto-solving. So they don't cause too much trouble, but of course it's not good to have them. It's better to clean. So you see, it's just this one. So it's hard to see what really is telling here, but there's apparently something about the arcade bone master mount via transformation. So I probably have. Oh, okay. This is one of those handle arcade top left. So it's just the left one. Probably has because it doesn't happen to the right side. It's the second one. Master mount, just the master mount left. Okay, so for example, you check if you have dependency cycle, and then you try to solve it, but you need to save, close Blender and reopen to verify, because the window won't update or clean itself. So this is annoying, or at least I don't know, no one knows how to do that. So something is crashing again. So I don't know what's happening, folks. This is rare. Looks like this could be that dependency cycle, or maybe I did something worse, or maybe my computer is overwhelmed with some stuff. Alright, sorry folks, we're gonna go back here. Am I recording? No, I'm not recording. So okay, I'm going straight to the bone. And I'm gonna isolate, so it's here. No, it was not this. Arcades, okay, here. Gonna save, let's see, so it's the arcade top 0 mechanism. Okay, this one, so it has probably some bone constraint that is not, maybe I've accidentally they are the same. Let's see if they are really the same. Okay, this is equal. Then maybe it's about the rotation. Equivalent. Then maybe it's something about the rotation. Just a accident rotation. No, still not this one. And shrink wrap, which shouldn't be okay. Very mysterious, because okay, and it is also not, it was not this one, so let's see these ones then. Could be that the combination of the rotations are making it go crazy, because they are. I had this problem with dumped track, but why only one side then? Left and right, and clear. Let's recheck here. Is a transformation, so it will be about really this one. So maybe if I just, since it's the same, I'm just gonna symmetrize this one, and whatever happens, I'm going to save here, close, reopen Blender, now it is resilient mechanism arcade top. Oh, master, of course, I was looking the wrong way. Of course, folks. Maybe I just added some stupid bone constraint. Yeah, I accidentally got this bone with some master mouth left. This one got some accidental, right? It doesn't exist, this thing. It is a mistake, right? It just has the shrink wrap. So this is just a stupid mistake. Press them. So now you see it still appears, but then what we do, we close this. So this is the rig you want, right? You want a rig that doesn't, despite all the complexities, if it has any, or complications, if it has any, it doesn't have dependency cycles. And this is some Blender kit stuff, an add-on that is partially free. I'm using only the free version, experimenting for assets, right? So here you see no dependency cycle. So this is why on the ARM rig, you need to, if the rig is not responsive, so it could be that, could be many things, but one of them could be cautious about the toggle system console. So that would be able to inspect if the rig, because then you track down what happens, and then you can solve, and then the rig starts to be responsive again if it's a destructive dependency cycle. So there are many levels of dependency cycle. Some, as the one that I showed, was apparently was just crashing my Blender maybe. So others will make the posing impossible, and others will make resetting complicated, but it won't affect much more than that. So if we can, we avoid all of them. So one thing in Blender that is very frustrating, maybe the 3D CG soft rigging thing. So it's very crude, Stone Age of rigging we are, or Neolithic age maybe. So basically is that the problem with inverse kinematics is that the natural way of the body motion to happen is like you have some sort of interaction when you move this on the bones which sustain the joint. So it's like as I move this, I would be posing this too in some sense. Not that the hip will move itself, the hip bone, but yeah, it can. Even turns out that the real bone joint, it's a ball socket joint of the femur bone, the real femur bone, right? It has some slight displacement, apparently. I've seen some video when the leg rotates, because it's a socket ball socket joint, and so that means that as the leg rotates, there will be some twist, some rotation of the pivot point itself, or motion of the pivot point, just something like that, right? And so if you do this with inverse kinematics, if you bone constrain this to the movement, you get total. What you get a dependency cycle by default, right? So it's unrealistic. The rigging tools we are given, they are just unrealistic garbage. Sorry, I'm joking. I mean, they are good, but they are just unrealistic, right? They are not powerful enough to handle cleanly certain realistic natural interactions. So, but we can do. I'm just able to pose this, of course, not in a way that would be ideal for the purpose, because I'm using the auto I key. But if I can get a chain length of 3 and get this bone move, but that it will be very hard to make it move the way I want, even with the inverse kinematics settings. So this is really, it's not necessary, right? But turns out why rigging this joint is so complicated in 3D is not just because of the skinning algorithm, it's because the bone mechanisms that we are given or that we do, they are just wrong, right? Wrong mechanism, or insufficient mechanism, better say, insufficient for the better deformed. And then there's still the skinning method, which is also Stone Age stuff. So there's a crazy solution that we can sort of improve this if we change the rest position of the character, like. But this creates a lot of more complications, but it can be useful. It's like, maybe I don't think I'm gonna do this in this project here, but we can. They run, for example, if I have the, let's hide here, this. So for example, if I have the rest position of the character something like here, like we can the rest pose, so not a T pose on an A pose, no, something more complicated that is non-conventional. Then we can, same for the arms, you find the best. This is advanced rigging, so this is totally not recommended for if you don't. That will be like, this is good for deform rig, but it's bad for the control rig and for model sheet, because imagine you have the model sheet of a character that is in a T pose or an A pose, then you won't model the character like that, right? This will be crazy. But you can change the rest position, sorry. Let's save here, this is just a pose. Then you like do a. I'm not sure if this will be good enough for that. This is actually, there's all the other objects, so no, I'm not gonna do this, folks. I have some tutorials that show this kind of stuff. So we can have the rest position on the mesh itself, right? On this, not in this pose, but in this pose, that by changing the rest position, and then the deform rig will respond much better to the the deformed. So for example, this will be some sort of, because then the mesh don't have of the leg of the thigh in this case won't have to rotate as much upward to reach the extreme, and same for the other extreme on the other side, and also for the sides, at least the external side, right? So we can improve the deforms, and then even more if you use the alongside with that, with another thing which also creates some compromising problems, which is the dual quaternion skinning, preserve volume, which will tend to improve the artifacts a little on the joints. It will indeed preserve volume. So this is dual quaternion skinning method, so this is, but it brings up with a secret artifact, not secret, but it will create some warping madness, and this is not very exportable because Blender use it, but not. So I have the warping artifact that if the bone rotates 80 degrees, 180 degrees, positive or negative, the mesh will warp, but this will not happen naturally. Usually there's very few motion that will, contortionism right? You have to have the bone do a hole this warping artifact, so this can be dangerous without the... Besides it, so here you see no warping artifact. Maybe there are some other or horrible things, but yeah, so rigging, it's like that. There's all solutions that we may find, sometimes it's very rare to find solutions that are good for everything. Like usually they come with pros and cons. But I must say that some solutions are probably more intuitive, easier to handle than others. And that one that I was mentioning of the rest position is one of those that is actually not super smart, because it will create a lot of other problems in the mechanism. You see, your bones are no more aligned, your model is no more aligned with many workspace feature or even the model sheet. So this can have very unexpected wreak havocs in the workflow. Not so much for the animation, I'd say it's more for the rigging process, right? So all this would need a method that is really, really powerful and very well documented. I don't have anything like that yet. So, alright folks, I need still to... My blender started crashing. Okay, we got the retake, we did that as well. Re-rig tongue, I think I'm already... This is just because I have an armature here for the tongue. Okay, let's re-rig the tongue then. In this case I have a mesh that, yeah. So you have a tongue armature there, skeleton. I need to readapt it to the... So I believe I need to reparent this to... Not the arcades, the jaws, yeah, so this is very confusing, I don't remember. So this is the tongue rig. Okay, let's just get then the... Okay, let's get this, no, not like this, get this, then got the tongue. So now, probably I'll have to hide this like this. Let's bring back, I made a shortcut for this geometry wireframe thing. Shift Control Alt Z, so it's easy to toggle. Then okay, so first the skeleton is displaced. So at least this is simple. We're just gonna bring this to... Yeah, let's hide these meshes also, and also hide the... Again, the eyes, not the mouth, but the hair, and so that will... And also the clothes, so we don't have anything interfering. This setup has also, let's just lock this, another shortcut that I've made. So hold on, let's bring this here. And so this setup is a bit tricky because it has the... I don't want to be looking at that. Yeah, it has bendy bones, splines, so we don't want to be... I have to retake this anyway, so... just making sure those bones are exactly in the... Yeah, I have some displacement here. I think all these bones, they are... Yeah, just... Let's bring them exactly to the center. With Alt, I think that sort of got fixed. No, they are not fixed. Alright, so this apparently is not working. I think they very strange. Alright, oh, of course. No, of course, I don't know. So maybe I just gonna hide this these ones. Let's try with this then. Okay, let's hide one by one and inspect. Okay, that seems to have worked. Yes, okay, then maybe the roles were messed up. So for these ones, because this is an old rig, so probably the no, seems to be everything in order. So, okay, so we need to get the side view, control 3 numpad. We gonna relocate this in the near the tip of the tongue. This near we already did, so from sort of here, and this exactly in the not this mechanism bone, but we'll have to readdress this one anyways, because we're gonna change some rows here, or rotations. So I don't need these ones. We're going to get these ones to, well, here the best is medium point, transform pivot point, so you can do this combined motion, but I think they got displaced, so we're gonna just make sure we're gonna realign these things. And same with this one. This one I'm gonna make a different setup now, because I know I'm gonna use the tangent. So I'm gonna, this targets the head of this, and this will target the head of it. So it will use a start handle as a bendy bones, start handle. Is it curved? Yeah, no, they are all set. This is an updated vertex mapping. So, and handle is tangent, not for this one. Only this one. No, this is wrong. This is absolute. Okay, start at, also, start at tangent and absolute. So here I'm gonna fix this. So I'm gonna be here, and mechanism bone also be here. I'm gonna realign this to this tweak. Then it get messed up. But that's normal. That this is like that. I'm gonna target here, align this, snap here, snap. Actually, this will, we'll fix that later. This will go there, so this is start at tangent, and this also start at tangent. All right. This is another. This is a. Okay, this is the mechanism bone, right? So we're gonna. I don't know the alignment right now because it's gonna change. So just for now, align it here. You see that we got. These things, now it is good. All right. We get here this, okay, this got, I think, the proper alignment here. There's snap here, making sure the snap is doesn't get the mesh, so you don't get this turned on. I'm just holding control, so we don't need to have this thing enabled. So it's only snap on demand. And so here now, what we do with this, we see that this is a bit too strong, so we're gonna just derotate this a little. This we can also rotate here. See, I'm rotating with this transform pivot point medium point, so it doesn't mess too much the. And here we can probably realign this with. Okay, let's hide this and align this with this, and I think this is correct. Okay, so now just inspecting this, don't know why this is -0. I suspect this is a problem, but if you, these are just super annoying stuff. Yeah, so I don't recommend, yeah, the rolls. Then this is something that keeps happening, I think. Yeah, so these little imperfections, I have no idea why they happen. Oh, the mechanism is, I see. Let's do this again. Something like that maybe. Okay, then for this, now we need to reassess this stretch to bone constraint. They always get messed up. Well, something wrong here. Why this is getting... Oh, of course, maybe I need to do this different. Let's move this like here, then we can have this sort of reorientation. Yeah, this is good. And then this and hide. So this one we're gonna snap it there for now. We're gonna make this central. Let's make sure we get yeah, so this is messy. This don't bother now, because just making sure we're gonna snap this in the exact location here. Yeah, then these rolls, we're gonna fix them. The most important here now is that I need to also, this will make some improvements here. And now it's just about the appliance. Alright, so this is not good. Mechanism. Oh, there's some bone that is messed up, I think. I'm missing some bone. No, they are, the two bones are here, so one is hard to see. Okay, the target is there, but why it is going crazy like that? I think I've changed wrongly the... No, it's not this. Absolute. It shouldn't be this one too. So something is very, very wrong about the... Oh yes, I know why. It's because I need to reset this thing first. So this needs to go in the new rest position first. Yeah, it is moving. So this is the buffer bone. This is a special technique. It's a bit complicated, but there's exists some tutorial that will, even I'm about to publish a tutorial that that makes this rig actually a little better than it is now. So this I need to actually just pose, apply. So after this is follow B bone. So this is a fake handle. It's not a true handle. So we can do this like a apply selected as repose. And so now this is reposition, and this is where I need to reposition all the other bones like this one. The problem is that this will make this data crazy as usual. And here I don't know. Also, let's do this. So let's realign here, snap this here, and then yeah, whenever I snap, it just gets bad, right? So we have some sort of something that we cannot avoid apparently, but it works, right? It's what matters. So now it re-snap here, and now we can reset, and then it should have the proper, yeah, it has the proper thing. And for this one, we just align here, gonna reposition it there, checking if those things are correct. Yeah, so these are just free snapping there. And for this, okay, this one also needs to pick here this joint, get there, and there's some strange thing. Yeah, probably this I can fix just by rotating. Okay, so I don't know why why this is happening, because this has the tangent. Oh no, it doesn't. Now it has. All right. No, I think I forgot. Yeah, so it's another mistake. So just have to probably. Yeah, so if I want to keep the tip aligned here, this will recreate more problems. So let's leave it like this. All right, this will, it's like it's a cat and rat game. If I change that, so I have to rechange if I want perfect, and then this should be just good enough, right? Because then the exact center of this mechanism bone will change. So here I think it's about scaling, so maybe this is important. I never know how to use this thing properly. And so here let's also reset on pose mode this last B bone, stretch 2, so just here. And so let's see how this is working. So if I go on pose mode, I need to, okay, so the tongue is poseable. So I have these strict bones, and let's see if I have the yeah, so have F key there, and we have fake I key here. It's not I inverse kinematic, but this setup allows to sort of fake it. And here, copy transforms. Okay, this is a special use of the copy transform. I've already done it. So this is the F key tongue. So if I so if I turn it off or reduce the influence, you see now I have some sort of I key feature, like this is pinned to a certain position, right? So this is sort of crazy. It's the fake parenting bone constraint. So this, guys, this, folks, you'll see nowhere else. People talk about child of bone constraint. No, this is the big stuff. The fake parent bone constraint. This is not for fake parents, this is for F key, but this just tells that this, it's like this bone is parent to the head, right? No, it's parent to nothing, so actually we're gonna reparent those things. So I have probably the mechanism, which is, right, yeah, the mechanism. So we're gonna parent these to the, yeah, I think this is correct. I'm not totally sure here, but that should work. So parent keep offset. The other control bone is this one. This can probably also be parent to this, or to the head, or something bigger. I don't know. Let's do this. Oh, I could just try and see if what happens here. So this is the got some strange deforms there on this mesh. I have to revise that anyways. Oh yeah, the pivot point is bad, so we cannot just parent this like that. So yeah, I'll have to. Oh, this is Twig Arcade Bot. What is that? Some thing here is not working. Control tone base. This is local with parent. Not working. Then maybe it's because okay, so I have some bones here lost the parenting, right? Of course. Never mind. So you have to have some work to do here to repair this stuff and how to combine them. So Trick Arcade Bot. Wow, this is very, very old. It makes no. Yeah, I'm gonna just delete this. However, this is the fake. Yeah, this is important. This can drive the influence probably, but for now, and this is, yeah, this is also junk. We don't need that for now. So I just want this one to be doing this. Yeah, so this needs to just be parented, but it needs all the other bones to have proper parent. So this is parent to the mechanism bone. Okay, this is parented to the Twig Tongue 1. This is parent to the Twig Tongue 002. This is parent to the Twig Tongue 002. Okay, this is parent to the mechanism, this one, which is parented to nothing, so you need to fix that. So in principle this will be parented here on edit mode. This one we could parent, I think, to this one, yeah. So, and this one also to the control tone base. So this is like, instead of this, like tone, yeah, tone base. So control F key tone base, and this control fake I key tone base. So this setup now, alright, we got this, some displacement bone. What is happening there? This got the parent to mechanism jaw. Okay, let's unparent this for now, just to see if this. Okay, so it's not responding properly for some reason. It shouldn't be like that. Probably. No problem here with. It's like double. It's delaying, like it's not sufficient. I don't remember this particular problem. If I turn it off, then okay, you have this behavior. Oh, I see. Maybe it's the bones here which are not responding appropriately. It's a double transformed, it's ridiculous. Okay, so the problem is not here. Yeah, it was not this, it's just this stupid mechanism bone has an extra thing that is useless. This one we cannot pull, so this is normal. This is just for the, and this limit scale is just to prevent some sort of strange interaction that this bone will inherit through parenting relation. It's compared to the mechanism buffer bone there, the fake handle, and so if that happens, then it will inherit some scale. It will become very awkward. You see here some scale artifact, but it doesn't do nothing. It's just bizarre, and there are way more stuff we can do to these bones actually that I forgot. Yeah, so I don't remember. I have to review my own, because there are some scaling properties of B-bones, bendy bones, which are very interesting. I'm just not familiar enough with them. Okay, this relates to these features here, but here I don't know exactly. I think it's about this. Yeah, it's all about the scaling. Yeah, you see it's happening, that. But how it occurs to the, like, we want these bones, at least the twig bones, to be able to scale. You see, this is not scale, so you need to make some smart ways to have the bendy bone, the deformed bendy bone, respond properly to this scaling of the. So we can achieve that. I think it's a copy scale thing that we need to implement, like from certain bones to the, probably to the from the bendy bones to the twigs, or something about the mechanism bones, which are, well, yeah, I'm not totally sure. I cannot. I have I found solutions. I just need to it's just a extra twig that it's fancy. But you see, this scales the tongue anyway, so it don't really. It's just, yeah, except this one. So this, only this seems to scale, or not even that. So I think this sort of is sufficient. Oh, it still need to parent, right? So I'm gonna get this mechanism jaw. Let's see if that will be sufficient here on edit mode. Just going to go to the relations, paste that. And paste that. Let's see now what happens when we rotate here. Yeah, the might be good for the tip, but not for the. And still, for some strange reason, this is not responding, right? This is bone constraint. Oh yes, what is this bone constraint too? So why does it even need this? Exactly. Okay, so this was just locking the bone, just as this was apparently incorrect. Replace, yeah, very bizarre. Local space. Okay, so maybe because of that. Delete that. Let's reset. And so this probably goes parent to something static. Let's parent it to the deform head, I think, which is the there. And so now we have some stability, sort of, yeah. And some rogue waves there need to address what is having too much influence on this. This we're just gonna address by the wave paint mode. Need to re-enable this. Let's see. Control Shift X. This is sample group. Need to hold, which is annoying, so I prefer just the shortcut. So this is the yeah, there are some arcade bones here, arcade influence. I've decided to make that, but in the end arcade top is doing all that. Yeah, the ludicrous, right? Of course, this is bad. Too much influence, right? This is incorrect because actually the lips, right, don't have all this madness, right? So we don't want to have this. So the idea here would just be to smooth this, but in a very specific way. We cannot mask the smoothing. Let's make a highlight. Alright folks, so we have some sort of problem here. You see how this melt interior is going up too much, right? And then to find it I had to go on wave paint mode and just investigate with the sample group. Shift Control X, right? Just hold. Then we have, as soon as you unpress, then it will select some vertices. This is why I prefer the shortcut. You can leave it, don't need to hold the click. So here, yeah, so there's some vertex group. Apparently some, you see those large waves there, especially arcade top, left and right. Okay, so these arcade tops have too much influence here, while the lips themselves they don't have too much waves. So it's just like the dispute here is unfair of waves, and so just need to smooth. The problem is that if I cannot just smooth this in any way. So the arcade bones, they would be, let's say, here. So that means the arcades, which you don't see here, they are, as they can, see, they can push this melt interior to many directions. The mesh of the arcades are here, right? And they have bones, the arcades, so they can deform to follow up the melt expressions if on demand, right? So here the problem is that I cannot just, if I have these bones here, see, I want to smear modifier I have on, so I can just ignore this wave painting, this one, but I need to wait. I have, oh no, I'm having an illusion here. This is, I was confusing this with the wave of the arcades themselves. Sorry folks, so here, let's go here. I need to smooth, but not in other way, you see. If I smooth this with the operator, I cannot mask the operator, I cannot prevent it. But there, so I have ended up with waves that are diffused in other ways, so we need to contract and then do some massive smoothing, because then the smoothing operation is will be confined to, yeah, sometimes we can just lose waves, which is bad, but we can confine them to some region, right? So this is exactly what I need, but still too strong, right? But I'll apply it now. Let's select the other and do the same. Smooth. Hope this is, yeah, maybe here we can do slightly different. Yeah, but it's still too strong there and there, so this will probably automate the other side, mirrored side, yes. So, but this is insufficient, so maybe I need even more. Yeah, maybe this is good, and then for this maybe I just want this to be smoothed out. Some small imperfections there, no big deal. With the blur there's no risk in blurring external regions right here, so it won't do nothing because there's nothing to blur from what I have here. So at least this is easy. Here we can, yeah, so I don't want, so you see I cannot solve everything with the smooth operation, but a great deal is solved through this. And then the other one, let's save also. Here probably gonna smooth this. A lot of very weird waves here. So this better distribution of waves should be much better to get these deformed smoother. So especially here, now I need to be careful about the lips. Yeah, I can do from here. I don't want to expand into the lips, so I think this is, I'm doing it with the mouse, so I don't have much subtlety here, so just that should be nice. And so you see this, I think compared to what I had before, jaws. No, it's upper jaw, and so it's still very strong, but you see it's much better. Here this is bad, so I have to revise what's happening this, but for the highlight I think this is good enough. So that's what way to smooth with contract, right? Alright, let's see here. What about levels? Sorry for the caps lock. No, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, the caps lock, yeah. So the levels, yeah, good idea. Let's try that. I'm not familiar enough with the levels. I think it might work. Levels instead of gain. Now I've already done, right? But offset. Yeah, that's still helping for the part behind. Yeah, this is good. Active group, yes. So here, yeah, must not do this. Something like this, and then just blur this. Here I'm not sure, so yeah, let's just blur this to oblivion. No problem. Let's check. Yes, so levels, very good. Thanks for the tip. So good idea for that. but if you tell me how to describe, it's just like the level of Photoshop, maybe the 2D graphics. Let's try it here and let's make another highlight. So we still have this problem with the upper arcade here that is pushing too much, and also there's this intersection here, so too much waves there. So here Denzel Mob gave an idea on the stream. So what about levels? Yeah, so there's the level and it worked for the lower jaw. So levels, we can also use some, we don't have the, yeah, we need to be careful, but it's similar. So we can have this gain, and some offset. So I think it's intuitive to use. So I want to preserve the essential structure of the wave painting, but I want to maybe diminish some influence. So for, here this gain, I have to check. So these waves don't need to be like alright, so you see that okay, so here this pose is important, so we need to, let's do this again and check, compare with this. Yeah, so there are a lot of waves there. That made the bottom, it's more dynamic because it needs to move more because of the jaw is moving. The upper jaw concept is something more surrealistic, right? It's for cartoon rigging. So here, of course, we cannot get this, but we can. Yeah, so gain can be important, but then you see this cannot gain too much on that part. And offset, we need to reduce it a lot to prevent. So you can have a lot of gain with very little offset. Yeah, so here I'm gonna just finish off by blurring this to oblivion again, and here this part I really want to take off these waves because the influence here apparently must be. So here we're gonna just use some mix, I think, and blur. So we'll start with I want to inspect, no, not this, Control Shift X actually. This is just low waves there, so we want to actually reduce even more. Maybe here we want some masking, right? So W and select, yeah, with 1, select some face loops here directly from, oops, this is not good. So just augment the, alright, this is perfect. So here we can go back to, well, we are in wave paint mode, so I need to just, what I need to do, just get the mix back and reduce these influences, so you can see that now the tongue is not being crushed by these waves. Yeah, I think there are, if the arcades go that up, if that ever happens, then this is safe to consider. And now I can just blur this. Let's see. Yeah, it's still touching, it's bad, but this is barely nothing, right? So in this case, very little influence here. We can just push this out, reduce this, maybe like here. Yeah, so maybe doing this, so I can just re-blur this, and we have even lesser waves than before. Yeah, but it's still touching, so it's not perfect, but I think this pose is already super exaggerated and is not anyone will bother. I can also fix that, maybe repositioning the mesh of the tongue. So let's check here if there's, yeah, maybe, well, actually I'm not satisfied with this. Maybe we need to push here some waves stronger here. So you have a little more control here. Of course, this is not the bone that we need to... Yeah, so now we have some strange things. So maybe I just exaggerated the amount of waves that I could take from this. So I'm on mix, so let's shift X here, shift X. Yeah, let's augment this to, I don't know, nearly 4. Something like that, yeah. And then I'm just gonna re-blur. Yeah, then the blur is a problem, so have to... So this is never ending. Let's align these waves here. No, it's not super... Alright, so now it is really not doing what I want, but okay, I think now it's better, yeah. I have some more... It's more natural, but there's still too much waves in here. But this might be because of something else, but that's okay. This won't intersect, and even if it happened to intersect, there's some protector, or... well, sometimes it may fail. There's some shrink wrapping feature that will prevent this mesh to go outside, or sort of. Alright folks, so this was an example of mixed feature. But for the lower one, the influence of the arcades of the lower melt interior, then the levels worked very fine. So that's it. Thanks there Denso Mod for the tip, so we can make some improvements here using new tools in Blender, or operations more specifically. Alright folks, so here we made these improvements, and I think their modifier, I wasn't able to do something else than the melt rigging, but at least I wasn't stuck with the same thing over again. So we messed up with a lot of stuff there, even the tongue rig, reconnecting it, although it's not appearing here. Let's just see. I'm not sure if it will be conforming to the character design. And it can work. So yeah, there's the tone. Yeah, all these rig is sort of... I say that it's not positioned properly. Have to see what's going on to properly be able to pose that. Okay, there it is, the tongue. So where's the... Yeah, so I think it is working right. So because it's bendy bone, right, we can do some alien stuff. But it's not supposed to be like that. Yeah, and the tweaking here where it can be hand. By the way, this character is an alien species anyway, so, but no, she is not supposed to be doing this. So it's just that the rig of the tongue can do this because of bendy bone. So it does way more than I need, right, for the character. But it's cool to have those, all those twisting, stretching, squashing features. So yes, welcome. Actually, thanks exactly for the. Also, one good thing of doing the streams, we can often have this chat with other artists that can bring up their own ideas and make some good interactions. And so let's see here if there's anything else to test. Yeah, so there's this stuff that I think there's something about the shrink wrap. Just maybe I'm missing a few more. Yeah, so this seems to be too heavy. Welcome, cousins, welcome back. Yeah, but you arrive exactly when I was about to complete the stream, because I'm doing this for more than a couple of hours now, I think. Yes, about 3 hours. But I'm fixing this. How are you doing? I need here to inspect what is going there. So I think this is about the Universal Sonic Melt Rig, because there's some shrink wrap targets there. This we can easily access on wave paint mode. So if I just bring the Ctrl-Shift-X here, too much stuff, right? So, but you can scroll down. It should be this one. Aha! So even though I have fixed this thing, it is too brutal. Can I wave paint the... I think I cannot, because that is already the lips that will cause dependency cycles for the Universal Sonic Melt Rig. It might be that I just have to add another face loop, edge loop actually, to solve this thing. So I'm gonna... yeah, let's make an iteration of saving here, a file. So here will be like getting this. Yeah, it's already here. So vertex selection option here for this masking. So we have here some value of waves, which is very low, but we need something stronger here. So maybe while this is super alright, this I didn't expect this to be working like that, but yeah, indeed. So we get this value here, this is 1, this is still 1, and then it starts to... maybe we can do this for these others too, to prevent the same kind of artifact. So here we... yeah, maybe, I think it makes sense. Yeah, so it's nearly perfect, right? Maybe just a little more, or just a little less. Okay, this sounds good. Yeah, good, very good. So here I'm concerned about this one, so we're gonna turn this off, and I'm gonna just blur more of this. Maybe due to what I saw in the lower part, maybe this is better. So I won't pin the the nose because I was having problems with that. So I wanna use this to shrink wrap very slightly, just a little more. So this blur is very weak, right? So this one is not good, seems to be. Oh, I can expand this from there. Yeah, this can. Let's hide the disable the Windows 11. Welcome to this incomplete. I should be back on Linux Mint. I was using Linux Mint until I bought a new computer. Then I was able to okay, so maybe this is good enough, right? So yeah, I didn't wanted Windows, but it came with the computer, you know. So then for this tongue, of course, we don't want to be looking at all these bones there. So probably this is just gonna change here. So I'm gonna turn this into a def, and I'm gonna just move this to have some mechanism bones here. Yeah, so the mechanism here, they can go for the so these are tweak bones. We can bring them with the control. We got here some tongue, right? And Alt M to, for now it's like that, but probably should be reunited in some other mouth rig thing. So these are the mechanism, these three. Also, since they are mechanism, I don't need these colors here. They can also be this one, I think. So Alt M to mechanism, and here this will all go to the def tongue. Yeah, they are already here. And here, can I change this? Yes, I can. So this, we're gonna move this to actually def. Actually, move to def head, which, well, oh, there are all the other bones for the. Okay, let's leave it like that. So the def head has some deformed bones, including the tongue, but it's missing some bones for the, which are below, right? So I still haven't organized. Instead of head, this is like face. Skeleton is like 0, so this is super. Let's move it up. Torso. Or spine, right? Okay, legs, arms, so Yeah, so all this should be on the face, or actually this will need more separation for the collections to get this thing better. And yeah, so after so much struggle, folks, I think the results are actually decent. I still want to make the grease pencil mouth face rig, right? But for this project, this character, I think yeah, see, there's some artifacts in the we have a lot of there again, so it's too sharp, but we don't not use the subdivision, right? Maybe here just shade smooth, no? Some shading. This is very suspicious. It's not a problem of face normals. Could be a problem of the data transfer, that maybe this vertex group there was changed, needs some update. Gonna check this. So okay, this one was updated, but it auto updates right in the modifier. Didn't change the name of the vertex group. So I got, so this is incorrect technique, because this, I shouldn't be using this as a modifier. There seem to be other mistakes here in this. I cannot, oh, I can, yes, so. Now maybe it was on purpose, yes, maybe. But this seems very odd. So I'm gonna make some changes here because I'm not sure. So this will be something that will affect normals. So I'm gonna duplicate it and give another name, because to avoid confusion. So here, yeah, I could do this manually or just try to select the face loops. Let's do it like this. In the borders, this shouldn't cause anything, but I don't really know how this behaves in terms of, for the shrink wrap I sort of know, but for the data transfer modifier I don't know what this different variation of influence can do. I'm gonna find out, or try to find out, because there's no clarity that I can end up with an answer for this, because I barely understand it yet, the data transfer. Apparently I just know that it is important in these cases where there's to have better alignment of the alignment is a way to say to conform the mesh more correctly to the when mesh data is going on. So here this seems very bad, right? So let's get the data transfer. Let's first get this instead I'm gonna not do that. Let's duplicate vertex group. The wave paint is exactly the same. I'm gonna call this mod data transfer and muzzle custom normals. There might be other things involved, but that's for now. So the other is just some, yeah, this is old stuff. I think I'm not even using. Probably I can delete. So just is an old separator. So this is just sort by name. All right, so now the problem is that it is here at the top. So here I bring here. Let's change here to mod data transfer. Nothing seems to happen. Replace. We don't want to invert, so here we got face corner data. So here I'm doing exactly as the prescribed, or maybe I need to the UVs. I'm not sure it will be near face interpolated. UVs, okay, then face data. I think this, if I'm not wrong, this was also relevant. Nearest face, project face interpolate. These are, I don't know. So and nothing happens here, so it didn't seem to solve anything. Let's see if this, so here I really don't know if I should let's make a test here. No dependency cycle. So I'm going to expand this wave painting towards here. So I got something like Control X, right? Control X. Of course, this is no. Let's not do that. So, that seems to have improved the results. No, actually, strangely, when I turn this on, it. What about this generate? No, this might be a bad idea, right, folks? I don't know what I'm doing here. If I'm destroying my model, I don't know. So let's return. The problem, yeah, if that created, because I haven't closed Blender, it would create and they would appear here, dependency cycle. So no, apparently these things didn't add any trouble. So I probably can get this and just Control X this. Because this is simple, maybe we can just do more. And let's see what happens. Okay, this doesn't seem to solve anything. Let's try something more radical. Something changed. Let's try to add the lips here. Okay, the custom normals are not selected. Projected face interpolated. Here's corner. Topology, well, topology, mapping, topology. Copy from identical topology mesh. Okay, so, but this seems like if nothing is done, right? So, and okay, then face data. What is this? Enable face data transfer, topology, whatever. I live like that, so source and destination map cannot be used in this. This is why actually this topology, I think, is probably this topology thing. This is why it was failing. It was like I had nothing. Okay, so the UVs will do that, and the custom normals, which were supposed to be used, are just inconsistent. And the only solution that seemed to work is just because... So really, I don't know why, if it is doing worse job, then why to use this, right? Previously it was sort of solving my rig, but right now, mix... No, maybe mix. Multiply. Yeah, maybe mix is. No, it's not good. So. Yeah, it is solving some stuff there indeed. But then it is creating this strange shading. Well, maybe this disappears in... Yeah, this can... Yeah, there's other shading issues, but okay. Let's say that this is... Maybe it's just the solid viewport shading where it disappears, yeah. Alright, so we got lot of progress here, but we still got to... So we can make... Yeah, the cool thing is that we got to make smooth melt expressions and some quite appealing for the cartooning demands that I want. Here, let's see, we can shrink sometimes, yeah, but it's hard without specific, how do you say, without pose assets, like it's just too boring, right? We need to get this ready at some point. Where's the lip shapes? Let's see how far this can go. Not too much, right? Without. But in this character design, the idea is not, the mouth shouldn't be like going too far, so it is still acceptable. And these shading artifacts, I think this is really breaking the mesh. Wait, how come I can pull this? No, it was just an illusion. These ones, yes, we can pull. I've lost the top lip. I think it's, yeah, lip top, this one. So yeah, so we can't, without more shape keys, we can't pose anything like the kiss shape. It is important to have it here. Crossed some positions in a crazy way, yeah, so got problems. Need to be very attentive to not break the, apparently I've heard animators do this a lot anyway, so breaking the rig in all sorts of way and having fun doing that. So yeah, so you can have mouth shapes, and that of course I need to improve. I'm just testing here the possibilities. And they are wild, right? It's already very nice, but it will only be more clear to me from this state when I get the pose, the reference, right, to try to make all sorts of facial expressions on the character. So currently we can do pretty stuff, but certainly it might be limited to this should be, I think, like I've made this rig like up to 75% of the ideal quality. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it's 80%. Yeah, because we can. I'll know, right? I'll know when, after I've got the. I'm gonna use this reference. Maybe you don't know. So this is the. Yes, I have lots of facial expressions here from this has been hotel cartoon TV show, right? Or actually internet show, I think. And I have some, it's a collection I have somewhere here. This one I could draw myself, but there's just too many content here for free, so and the expressions here are very nice, so we'll probably I can match many of them, but not approximatively, right? But the rig will break in many. So when I reach that, I'll know what really is missing, where I need really to try to find better solutions. Yeah, because if you just rig and don't animate, right, 3D animate, you really don't know, right? Ends up that it's not good for rigging. It's important to know what the end user, the animator, needs. And so we know this by posing, right? Not necessarily animating, but yeah, part of animating, posing and checking. It's also a rigging thing. Alright folks, so I think this was it for today, sort of a long run here, but we made big progress, and we're gonna, be it tomorrow or any weekday, will be on doing this stuff. I'll try to bring more stuff in the world building, because we are about to leave this and go to something else, and especially also mouth reading. So the list here of tasks are still a big, but we yeah, I intend to reach this hip type join with my interest, a lot of people, and we are very close to it. Cloth rigging might be also very good. So that's it folks, thanks for watching, thanks for the participation. See you next time. Tomorrow I'll be there if you're around, but feel free to arrive whenever you want. But of course needs to be on the time I'm present. Usually it's at this night time here in my place. Take care, happy blending, and see you around, and have a nice week that is starting now. Take care folks, see you around, enjoy. See ya Denzel Mob, see ya Kenzies, and everyone. It was my pleasure. See ya folks.